How you guys doing? It is Friday, July 31st, 2020 out here in this quarantine. And for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to give you a quick rundown for the top 50 in NFL's top 100. On Wednesday, I was able to go through numbers 100 through 51, but they were able to release the final top 10 that night. So I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to go into it really quickly today. And I'm going to give my overall take because, I mean, at the end of the day, if you get voted onto this list out of the thousands of players people that have tried to play football, as of right now, you are considered one of the league's best. And especially on this segment, you are one of the league's 50 best players voted on by your peers. And I like the way they do this because at least like your peers can vote on it, and at least the people that you are playing with are the ones that are voting, because at least they know because they're the ones that are actually playing. And if you're unaware with this list, the NFL every year on NFL Network, they rank a lot of their players. They have the players do it. They have a whole show about it, and they usually post all the videos on YouTube. So that's kind of how I've been following it with everything that's been going on. But I was able to go from yesterday. They started off number 100. It was Levante David, and I went all the way to Todd Gurley. Without further ado, I'm gonna jump into going from number 50 to number 1. No breaks, no stops, and just giving you my rundown. So starting off with number 50 is Darius Leonard. He's the linebacker for the Indianapolis Colts, and I really really like him. He seems really motivated because he thinks that he was rated pretty low, but at the same time, if you're still rated in the top 50 by your peers, I think that's a huge honor, and I think that he definitely should be recognized as being one of the big reasons that the Colts were really good last year. Number 49 was Amari Cooper, the wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, and of course he had an amazing year. I think it's really good. I'm glad that Amari Cooper went to Dallas. I like his situation in Dallas better than I like it in Oakland. He's gonna be a really really fun player to watch. Number 48 was Zadarius Smith, one of the linebackers that made the Packers a lot better of a defense last year. I haven't watched a lot of him like individually, but I think after seeing his piece, I think you can't really miss his impact to that defense and how good the Packers were because of his presence. Number 47 was Tre'Davious White, the cornerback for the Bills. I've been kind of following him since college. I'm glad that he was rated so high. I didn't know that he had a crazy year with Buffalo that he did, but I guess Buffalo, they were really sound on defense because they were really sound at every level, and I guess he was doing his part. Number 46 was Dak Prescott. I like Dak Prescott. I think he gets told a lot of times that he's not good by people that aren't in the NFL, that don't play every single Sunday with him. I like Dak Prescott, and I like how he continually proves people wrong, and I like how he was voted into the top 50. Number 45 was J.J. Watt. Of course, you know how I love J.J. Watt. He's one of my elites. I think he definitely changes the game. I love J.J. Watt. Number 44 was Mark Ingram, the running back for the Baltimore Ravens. I really, really like Mark Ingram. I like the way he fits into that system. I think he makes the Ravens a lot better of a team, and I've been loved Mark Ingram since he was at Alabama. He's been that dude. Number 43 was Jimmy Garoppolo. I like Jimmy. I like what he's done with the 49ers. To me, if he puts up a really elite season, I'll consider like adding him. But for right now, one season isn't going to do it for me. Number 42 is Alvin Kamara, another good running back. I like the way he fits into the New Orleans Saints offense, and they can really use him for anything. And as a Falcons fan, I don't like facing him every week, but I do like watching him play when the Saints aren't playing the Falcons. Number 41 is Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney's a beast. I still think it's been a second for him to bring everything together, but he's still a very, 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 very valuable football player. I imagine that whatever team is going to sign him, I hope the Seahawks sign him, that their defense is going to get a lot better if Jadeveon Clowney's on their defense. Number 40 was Danielle Hunter. Danielle Hunter is amazing on that defense. I think if Danielle Hunter puts up in another elite season, I'm going to add him. To me, I think he's done a lot. It's like he's kind of fallen off the radar. It's just, I don't know. I feel like someone getting that many sacks should be talked about more, and I think that's a little bit more. That's on my fault. That's a lot of that's on me for not doing a lot of my homework when it comes to Danielle Hunter. I really really like him, but to me, his name doesn't ring. Number 39 is Tyrann Mathieu. I like Tyrann Mathieu. Tyrann Mathieu won a Super Bowl. if Tyrann Mathieu gives me another season like this, I'll add him to the elite as well, because I think he's an elite level safety, but a lot of the things with him come down to injuries. Can he stay healthy for a whole season? Because we can see what happens when he leads a defense, and he's very darn good as well. Number 38 was Chris Godwin. I didn't realize everyone else thought Chris Godwin was this good. I mean, I saw him at Penn State, and I knew he was good, and I saw him on Hard Knocks, so I'm like, okay, this kid is actually good. I didn't expect him to be rated this high. So, I mean, especially with him and Mike Evans being in Tampa Bay with Tom Brady, it's going to be kind of wild. It's going to be interesting. Number 37 was Jalen Ramsey, a cornerback for the Rams, who I actually had in my elite. I've always liked Jalen Ramsey. I think a change of scenery will be different, but I still think Jalen Ramsey's still the same lockdown corner. Number 36 was Nick Chubb. I always liked Nick Chubb, but Nick Chubb was always too injury prone for me. If Nick Chubb can put this, like, you can do this again in back-to-back seasons, Nick Chubb is most definitely an elite player in my book. 35 was Minkah Fitzpatrick, and I love Minkah Fitzpatrick. I want to see him. I want to see him put together another All-Pro season for the Steelers, and then I'll maybe consider him. Because I mean, this is an early list. I still gotta see what he can do. Same with number 4, Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa's been kind of hurt recently. He put together a full. He's been putting together like really, really good games in the games that he's playing. I need to see him play another full season, put up really, really good numbers, because I like Joey Bosa. To me, he got surpassed by his brother, but I still think he's still an amazing defensive end. Number 33 is Aaron Jones. I like Aaron Jones. I like Aaron Jones. The Packers are a lot better of a team with him, and with him as their running back, Aaron Rodgers doesn't really have any excuses with that defense, and he still has a really, really good O-line, good defense. No, I think with Aaron Jones, the Packers are a very complete offense. And, I mean, if anything should hold them back is their defense, and their defense isn't holding them back at all. Number 32 was Shaquille Barrett, the linebacker for the Buccaneers. I mean, I'm a Falcons fan. I see him play. Like, I see him coming up. He's a good upcoming linebacker. I like seeing him. He's sneaky good. Number 31 is Saquon Barkley, the running back for the Giants. I really like Saquon. He's one of my elites. He's one of my young elites. I just think he makes the Giants a lot better. We'll see what happens when he plays the next full season for the Giants. I hope they do a lot to build around him so that he can actually help the Giants win football games. Number 30 was Mike Evans. I like Mike Evans. I'm proud. It's good that he's actually gonna have like an elite quarterback for once in his career. And I like Jameis Winston, but Jameis Winston isn't Tom Brady. We'll see what Mike Evans can do on this team, but I really, really like him as an individual talent. Number 29 was Quentin Nelson, the offensive lineman for the Indianapolis Colts out of Notre Dame, and I like what they did with him. I like how he's been able to ascend to being one of the best linemen, and everyone basically called it out of college, and he did it. He's proven to be one of the more valuable pieces on this Indianapolis Colts team, and I think whatever quarterback they have groomed to take over that next spot in Indianapolis, he'll have Quentin Nelson, and he'll be pretty set. Going on to number 28, you have Richard Sherman, who I might add him to the elite by the middle, like in the middle of next season if he continues this elite play. I thought he fell off personally after Seattle once he went to San Francisco. Once San Francisco got things rolling, I didn't realize how much Richard Sherman really played to that. Richard Sherman's back. Richard Sherman has always really been elite, but to me, I just didn't know if he was ever going to really be or put together an elite season like that again. So a lot of that's on me. Number 27 was Jamal Adams, who I recently just added, and I think with him going to Seattle, he makes Seattle to me the favorites to get to the Super Bowl in the national or in the NFC, with Jamal Adams on that defense holding everything down, especially if they re-sign Jadeveon Clowney. Jamal Adams is a big guy. Like he's a big time playmaker. He makes big time plays in big time games. Number 26 was Von Miller. We all know how great Von Miller is. He's already on track to being a Hall of Famer, and he's one of my elites, so not much to say there. Number 25 is TJ Watt. To me, if TJ Watt puts together another elite season, TJ Watt's part of the elite. To me, I mean, he made that jump. He made an amazing jump. To me, he's got to sustain it, because I mean, it's football. Anyone can have an amazing elite season. But we just got to if he's a perennial elite, he can show it. I mean, he is showing that he is not letting down the Watt name with what he's doing on this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Number 24 is Ezekiel Elliott, who I of course have as one of my elite running backs. I just like the way he runs the football. I think he's definitely a game changer, and he makes the Cowboys a lot better of a team when he's playing. Number 23 is Cameron Jordan, a defensive end for the Saints. I like the way he plays. I think he's incredibly good. To me, I don't think he's elite. I don't think he's an elite defensive end, but I think he's incredibly good, and he should be respected as such. But yeah, he's one of the league's best. I'm glad that he was recognized by his peers as one of the best, because he is. He should be recognized as one of the league's best defensive players. Number 22 is Tyreek Hill, a wide receiver who I had as one of my elites. Good to know that the rest of the league kind of sees him that way too. He is one of the league's best, and I think that he deserves to be recognized as such. Number 21 is Dalvin Cook. I didn't realize everyone else thought Dalvin Cook was this good. I always thought it would be good coming out of Florida State, but since he was a third-round draft pick, I just assumed it would take him a second, and then he also got hurt his rookie season, but he bounced back, and his peers rated him as number 21. To me, if he puts together another like elite season for the Vikings, I think I can make him. I would have no problem writing him down as an elite running back in this league, because he is. Number 20 is Deshaun Watson, who I have as one of my elite young quarterbacks for what he's done for the Houston Texans. Not much to say there. But I do think he's one of the league's best, and he's going to sneak a Super Bowl away from someone one day. Number 19 is Khalil Mack. We all know what he's done. He went to the Bears and immediately made them title contender, like a playoff team just with his presence alone as a defensive player. Khalil Mack hasn't missed a step. It's just that Chicago isn't winning games, and he can only do so much as the defensive end or as the outside linebacker. Number 18 is Travis Kelce. I like Travis Kelce. He's my favorite tight end. He's the only elite tight end I have on here. Just his consistency every single year, and him, it's definitely shown, and he was able to be a big part of this Super Bowl team and every single game down the stretch. Number 17 is Nick Bosa. I had him as one of my young elites too. He had an amazing rookie year, and he deserves to be recognized. Yeah, he deserves to be seen as at least a top 20 player for what he's done in this year. I think it's gonna be a common occurrence. I think you're gonna see him. He's gonna be a regular in the top at least 25. He's a really, really good player. Aaron Rodgers was number 16. You guys know how I feel about Aaron Rodgers. Still incredibly elite. Could win the MVP at any time if he really, really wanted to. Number 15 was Chandler Jones. I like Chandler Jones. It's tough for me to label him elite and put him in the category of like a Von Miller or a Khalil Mack or a J.J. Watt. But I still think he's incredibly good. And he makes the Cardinals a lot better of a team when he's playing. Number 14 is Tom Brady. Of course, you know how I feel about Tom Brady, the GOAT, and he's going to go to Tampa Bay. Win more games than people expect him to, but I don't know if he's going to do a lot. But Tom Brady is still that dude, though. Number 13 is Bobby Wagner, the linebacker for the Seattle Seahawks, who I also have as one of my elites. One of the best. I would argue he's the most complete linebacker in football right now. He's probably the best player at one of the league's most important positions. So of course he's elite. Number 12, I have Drew Brees as one of my elites as well. One of my all-time great quarterbacks. One of my GOAT level players. He's always a threat to throw for 5,000 yards, no matter how old he is. Number 11 was Julio Jones, the wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons, who of course is one of my favorites because he's one of the hometown heroes. To me, he's the best wide receiver in the game, and no matter what, he's still a threat to go for 200 yards on your team any game. I mean, I think it's a lot to get a lot of receptions, but I think considering how Julio's consistently been a top receiving yards receiver, it's like a quarterback can throw the ball to you as many times. It's what can you do with the receptions that they give you? And Julio Jones is just a yards machine. He even draws double teams, and he's a big part of that Atlanta offense. But he's 11. Number 10, they listed Derrick Henry, who was one of my elite running backs. And just because of his sheer size and speed, this is everything. Like, we kind of expected this out of him when he was coming out of Alabama, but we still didn't see it happening like this. Derrick Henry put together an amazing season, and as of right now, he's one of the league's top 10 players. Number 9, they listed Stephon Gilmore, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, who was, of course, a lockdown corner doing everything he could for the New England Patriots. And No, I just think his presence just makes them they're an amazing defensive team. Also, going to number 8, they said they listed DeAndre Hopkins at number 8. Of course, I love DeAndre Hopkins. He's gonna make the Arizona Cardinals a lot better of a team. Let's see what he can do with Kyler Murray and Larry Fitzgerald and all the other options in Arizona. He's gonna be a problem. No, but of course, I have all the love in the world for DeAndre Hopkins. He's one of my elites. I have no problem with him being ranked in the top 10. Number 7 was George Kittle. He was the highest rated player that I didn't have as one of my elites because I think he had one crazy elite year. To me, he's got to do it again. I mean, if he does it again this year, of course he's one of my elites. I didn't know that he was. I didn't realize he was as elite of a blocker as he was. But of course, this is all just one season, and of course, I really want him to do well his next season. Like, I want people to be on my list. Number 6 is Christian McCaffrey. Not much to say. I've always loved, Christian McCaffrey was that dude coming out of Stanford. He's still a baller. Like, there's not much more you can really say about him. He's one of the league's best, and not much more to say about him. Number 5 was Michael Thomas, who was of course one of my elite wide receivers. He broke the receptions record last year. Amazing year doing what he's doing. I think he wasn't my favorite receiver, but I have no problem with him being rated by NFL play. I mean, they would know better than I do. They rated Mike Thomas as the best receiver and as the number 5 overall football player. Number 4, they rated the reigning Super Bowl MVP, Patrick Mahomes. And of course, he's one of my elite quarterbacks. I think he's the most valuable player in all of football with the ability of throws he can make, and that combined with his age. And just the context, the situation that he's in with the players, the scheme, everything kind of works out for Pat Mahomes, and you saw it in the Super Bowl. Very, very good player, and he deserves to be yes, number 4. If he's not if you're not number 1 and you're you're number 4, I don't know if that's something to be mad about. But if you're Patrick, I guess use it as motivation. But you're still being regarded by you're still being voted by your peers as a top 5 player out of the thousands of people in America that say they play football. You're a top 5. Number 3, of course, they rated Aaron Donald, who I said already at 28 is a GOAT level player because he's probably the best defensive player, the most dominant defensive player I've seen recently that wasn't J.J. Watt in the 2010s in this past decade. I think they're both incredibly amazing and insane, and they're definitely a threat to go for about 4 or 5 sacks in a game at any time. I'm scared of those guys. Number 2, they said Russell Wilson. They said Russell Wilson was the second best player in football with what he's been doing on the Seattle Seahawks, the throws that he's made, the touchdowns, the lack of interceptions. And I have no problem with him saying this. Russell Wilson, to me, I think, is the most complete option at quarterback given his situation. Just because how old he is, his experience. He's won a Super Bowl. And one crazy flex that they said was that every single season that he started, the Seahawks have never had a losing record. That's insane to me, and I think Russell Wilson should be, and he's getting better and better every year. You can see that he's learning, and I think with Jamal Adams added to that defense, the Seahawks to me are a favorite to make the Super Bowl out of the NFC. And Russell Wilson to me is the reason why they're going to hold it down on offense, especially with the receiving options they have with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and they have Chris Carson in the backfield. Pretty good O-line. So it's I trust in Russell Wilson. And of course, number 1, they gave it to the MVP, Lamar Jackson. The flex they said about him was that he not only broke the quarterback rushing record for yards on the season, he still led the entire league. He led all quarterbacks in touchdown passes. And to me, that's a crazy flex. And he still threw for a lot of yards, ran for a lot of yards combined. And he wasn't even on the top 100 the year prior. So, I mean, he went from not even ranked to being the number 1 player. That just shows as to how amazing his season was and how elite he is as a player. I think his ceiling is probably higher than that. It's if not, I mean, I'd say it's as high as Patrick Mahomes, especially with this organization that he's in, especially with the Ravens, with the coach he has in place, the scheme that they have built around him, and especially his amazing skill set that he's been able to carry ever since he's been in high school. He went to Louisville. He was told he couldn't play, went to the league, and he's the league's best player. I'm glad Lamar Jackson was number one. It's voted by number one out of all of his peers after being told by everyone that he couldn't do it. And to me, that's the list. The only players that I had, I believe, that weren't specifically mentioned were probably Matt Ryan, Antonio Brown, and maybe Cam Newton. Matt Ryan and Cam Newton are quarterbacks that have won MVPs and can basically go off for MVPs whenever everything goes well for them. And Antonio Brown didn't play last year because he was kind of nuts, but everything else said, those are most of the players that I had listed as elite were listed as their peers or so I feel kind of better knowing that the other players in the league ranked them so high and ranked them as one of their best players. And there are some players that were ranked really high that I didn't consider as part of my elite. I feel like I have my reasoning, and once you guys get into the profiles, you can see as to why I listed these specific individual players as elite, but there are players to me that are like 1 year off. Like to me, George Kittle's 1 year away, stuff like that. But with that, I really like I said, I really enjoy this piece that the NFL always does because, like you said, you just hear other NFL players talk about who's the best in their sport, and they're the ones that are playing these games. So I'm like, okay, that sounds like a time. That sounds awesome. But with that said, I really appreciate you guys for listening all 21 minutes of this. I like getting into lists and players like this. It's really fun. But if you get a chance to try to get to see as many of these players as you can, because it's the NFL. You never know who's gonna be hot one season, who's gonna be not. You never know whose Hall of Fame career can come to an end this year. You never know who can jump on the scene. They're one of the greatest players of NFL history that's playing in the NFL right now may not have made this list. But I mean, you never know. Just keep watching football. It's just keeping up with the season and keeping up with this show. It's really, really fun to keep up with both at the same time. And I imagine that a lot of NFL fans that have watched the top 100 and followed the season kind of agree with me on that. But with that said, thanks once again for hearing my piece. Peace out. And I wish everyone well, especially with this quarantine. With that said, I'm out.